I made it back to Fun Spot Atlanta. Only this time, ArieForce One is open and people are on it. You can probably tell by the ground, it has been pouring rain for hours and hours and hours. The park opens at 10, or opened at 10, and the rain was supposed to be done by 9. It's 11:20. It just stopped. Well, I could have come here yesterday. They were open 11 to 6. It would have been really difficult dealing with that Atlanta traffic and getting here with much more than maybe an hour or two. Although that would probably be enough time to get a lot of rides. I am already 15 laps in 12 different seats. I think I might try to get all 20 seats done today. It's got strong ejector airtime. It's got great floater airtime on this 0G stall. Sustained ejector coming up here. And that stop is not as bad as what people say. At least not for me, it wasn't. I set a new personal record for myself with 9 straight rides without getting off the train. I kept switching seats on each ride because I'm trying to get on every seat on the train. My previous record was 7 in a row on Shockwave at Six Flags Over Texas. And I might have done 7 in a row on Iron Rattler before. I might have done 6 in a row on Iron Rattler on this trip, but I know I'd done it at least once before, maybe twice before. It's not a super long ride, but it's not a short ride either. And the quality of what this provides makes this one of the best coasters in the country. Is it the best? It could be. As far as personal favorites go, I don't know, the experience on this could end up topping Twisted Timbers. As far as my personal enjoyment and experience, ride operators, the staff here are incredible. Those pre-live bunny hills actually do give airtime. I'm now 22 laps in, and it's only 3:30, and I could easily have had more. And I probably will end up breaking my single day record for one ride in a day, which is currently still Iron Rattler at 26. The thing is, every other ride that I've gotten over 21 rides on in a day, there have been other things worth doing, whether it be Kumba, or Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa, Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom, of course Iron Rattler, Intimidator 305. The only other ride I've gotten 20 rides on in a day is Switchback at ZDT's. That's the only thing worth doing there, and I did those 20 rides in about 2.5 hours. I did ride Screaming Eagle, Hurricane, once. I'd like to do that one actually a lot more, because that was probably the best ride I've ever had on it. It is janky in the best possible way. On a Saturday, ArieForce One train operations and getting re-rides as much as you can handle. There's one guy who's been sitting on the train for about, for over 3 hours, I think now. There's another guy who's doing it for about 2 hours. He had to take a restroom break. Now he's back. I did 3 rides in a row at the start. Then I did another 3 rides in a row before sitting down and talking with my friend. And then I did 9 rides in a row. And then I went out to the car, got something to eat, And I came back and just did 7 in a row. And on those 22 rides, I have ridden in all but 2 seats. I'm not just talking about the rows, I'm talking about the seats. I've ridden the left and the right seat on every row except row 7. I've done a marathon with every row on a train on Lightning Rod, Iron Rattler, Iron Gwazi. But I do believe that my only time getting every seat on a train is on White Lightning. Actually, I know that that's the only time I've ever done it. And that's a 6-row train. So it took 12 laps. I think I did 15 that day. 12 laps were getting all 12 seats. Here it is 20 seats with 10 rows. That is a new record for me for most rides in a day on a coaster. 27. There's some other things to do, but what is really going to take up much of your time other than this? And with no lines, even on a Saturday, 1 train ops, it is easy to get a whole lot of rides. And the other thing of note is that my 27th ride on this today completed every seat on the train. All 20 seats on the train I rode over those 27 rides. So it's hard to say exactly which is the best row, what's the best seat. I'll leave that to the more seasoned pros of this, and trust me, there are a lot. If you think 27 in a day is incredible, yeah, that's nothing compared to what some other people have been able to do. But with my 1 day's worth of experience on this, I think I like row 2, left seat. Now, I don't know if that's just in my head. I've heard it said that row 2 on some of the RMCs have been the best. I feel that Storm Chaser and Twisted Timbers, row 2 has been the strongest on those. And I think row 2 is the strongest on this. One guy said that row 8, right seat, was the best. I don't know. I tried that seat and it seemed pretty good too. So kind of an odd thing. Not row 10, not row 1, but rows 2 and 8 maybe? Who knows? So my suggestion would be for you to ride all 10 rows, just like I did. Maybe even all 20 seats. I don't know how many more rides I can handle, honestly, because even though it rides glossy smooth, this thing is intense with the forces. It's got positive forces. It's got, of course, the strong ejector airtime, and you get a lot of rides with those kind of forces, and that can wear on you after a while. It's not a headache from roughness, like some rough coasters can give you a headache. No, this is the airtime that can give you a headache when you ride it too much. At least for me, some people can ride this 40, 50, 60 times a day or more, no problem. I would have to build up the tolerance to get to that point. Hurricane riding is great as ever. So I'm at 31 rides, and I think that's where I will end. That last ride was in the back row, right seat. The ride operator told me that that's her favorite seat on the train, and I gotta say, I think I agree. Row 8 in that same right seat is incredible. Row 2 in the left seat I thought was the best there. But that back row right seat might be the best on the train. Just ride all 20 seats on the train and see what you think. So what do I think of ArieForce One after my first day riding it? Record-breaking 31 rides on the day, record-breaking 9 in a row at one point, record-breaking riding all 20 seats on the train. I would say it is definitely top 10, probably top 5, and quite possibly the best coaster in the country. I think as far as objectively best coaster in the country goes, the only ones that I think really have a case against ArieForce One are Iron Gwazi and Velocicoaster. Possibly Steel Vengeance, probably not, honestly. I think that those 3 rides, ArieForce One, Iron Gwazi, and Velocicoaster, have a lot more to offer than Steel Vengeance. And that is even taking out the frustration of not being able to ride Steel Vengeance hardly ever because the line is always so long and it's always broke down. But yeah, that is frustration, and that plays a part into my low ranking of it. But as far as putting that aside and just thinking objectively how good the ride is, putting all that aside, I think that Steel Vengeance is still not quite at the level. Steel Vengeance does a few things really well, and it does them over and over and over again. And the airtime is really good. It's not as strong as those other rides. And the only reason why I don't put rides like Twisted Timbers and Storm Chaser in that same category as a contender for best, objective best, is because they don't have the height or speed of those other rides. I think to be the absolute best, you need to kind of excel in everything. And I feel like those 3 rides I mentioned do excel in everything. Now, I don't think theming is necessary to be the objective best coaster because we're talking about just what the coaster does itself. So it's then between Iron Gwazi and ArieForce One for objective best coaster in the country. And for me personally, ArieForce One, that experience today was incredible, and I think the experience that it will give to anyone who visits will be incredible. Even if you come on a weekend, I can't say that about Twisted Timbers or Iron Rattler, but Iron Rattler has a special place in my heart. It'll probably remain my number 1. It probably should have always been my number 1. I don't know why I ever put anything ahead of it, just as a personal favorite. ArieForce One, though, might take the number 2 spot. And it is really nice to see more people here on this visit. The last 2 times I've come here in 2020, there were 2 guests in the park, including me. And then last year when I stopped by here, there were 6 guests in the park, including me. A lot more people in the park tonight, but still light crowd. And last year when I was one of 6 guests in the park, that was on a Saturday night. Around this time, actually, 7 o'clock.